Hey guys, it's Marcus Maloney, the Equity King. We're here with a new video for you. And what I wanted to touch on is I was kind of going through some of our blog posts and things of that nature, and wanted to ask the question, what is holding you back from getting started? What is the main thing that's stopping you from actually taking that leap to jump? What is that main thing that has you constrained and tense when you think about going out there talking with the seller or pulling the trigger to send some marketing or anything like that? So let's just kind of have a conversation today, and really don't have anything too much outlined. I just put up a few points, but I just want to know what's stopping you from getting started, and maybe I can answer those questions for you below and help you get off the fence and really push and get moving. I definitely understand, the fear that comes into getting started. We all go through it. We have all been there. We have all been in the position where we want to start. We know we have to start. We know we need to start. We pretty much kind of understand the process, but that fear or lack of something is stopping us from moving forward. So I want to just touch bases on some of these points, talk to some of the students, talk to some of the other newbies that I know that are in the industry, and these are some of the things that they talked about that is stopping them from really getting started. So I want to just kind of tell you or steer you in the right direction on what to do. So let's get started. Let's jump right in. So what is holding you back from getting started? Is it the fear of the unknown? Ooh, I don't know, what it really is out there to sell real estate, or I don't know what it really means to flip real estate. I just don't have the confidence. So let me go over some of the things that, really hold people back and how they can overcome it. So if one is no money, this is the biggest thing that people say they are in fear of, is really going out there and they don't have the money. But how many times have you heard on videos like this or other videos that say, get started right away, no money, no money out of your own pocket, lock up deals with no money out of your own pocket? That is true to an extent. However, you always have to put in something to get something. So I always look at agricultural terms. I'm a young guy that kind of grew up on a farm, not kind of grew up on a farm, but grew up on a farm. So everything was in terms of sowing and reaping, planting seeds and reaping a harvest. You plant in the spring, you reap a harvest in the fall. So you have to have something to get started with. So no money, yes, you can close a deal with no money out of pocket. I have one that's closing later on this week with no money out of pocket. But there's a process, and you have to work up to that. So don't let no money stop you. And I'm gonna touch on this down here, because there are numerous ways in order to get deals done where you use other people's money. I'm sure you've probably heard of OPM, other people's money. So we can touch on that. The next thing is lack of education. A lot of people, they are scared to get out there and do it because they just don't know. They don't have all of the information. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand this because there is too much content out there. So maybe it's not lack of education, maybe it's lack of consistent or solid education. So what I did when I got started, I plugged in and I listened to one person to get me started. There are a lot of people out there that's teaching, real estate investing with no money out of pocket, wholesaling, lease options, rental properties, take over the mortgage, seller financing, seller carrying, this, that. There's a lot of different things that you can get into, but you have to get locked in to one person or one concept to get you where you need to go. So if you want to build up a rental portfolio, that's what you need to be feeding yourself, how to build up a rental portfolio. Then you can scale it down even further. If it's a rental portfolio, am I going to invest in just single families, or I'm going to invest in multifamilies? So if it's multifamilies, then hey, I need to listen to all the content regarding multifamilies. I need to read and educate myself. But not only read and educate myself, but you need to also put in some action. So whatever you're reading, you need to implement. That is one of the main problems today with education. You can have all the education in the world, but education without implementation is dead. It's nothing. So you need to implement things. So if someone tells you you can get started with no money down, or you can get started wholesaling with no money out of pocket, you need to do 1, 2, 3. Then you need to get off your butt, stop looking at videos and stop reading books, and go and do 1, 2, 3. Once you have done 1, 2, 3 and you've tried it, then you can say, okay, well, let me move on to the next step. So I don't believe that lack of education is the problem. I believe it's implementation in the education. So you can always ask questions if you don't have the answers. And I'm going to tell you one place where you can ask a question and find out an answer: below. So just make sure you ask any question that you have, regarding earnest money deposit, contracts, regarding assignment agreements, title company, finding a buyer, building a buyer's list, putting out bandit signs, doing direct mail, all of that information you can ask below, because not only have I done it, but my circle around me has done it. So we can definitely get you that information. Next, another fear of the unknown. What if no one buys my deal? So what if you do implement this education and you go out there and you secure a property and you have it under contract and no one buys the deal? So what? The power is in the implementation. So if no one buys the deal, you basically just did a case study on how to find a property that won't sell as a wholesale deal. So maybe you got it under contract, too high. Or maybe you underestimated the rehab cost, or you just didn't negotiate the deal right. So what? If no one buys the deal, so what? Move on to the next deal. Tell the seller, you know what? The property is more work than we anticipated, and we're going to have to cancel the contract. What's the problem? Canceling the contract. Just cancel the contract and say, again, it's too much for us. We can't do it. We had great intentions on getting this deal done for you, Mr. Seller, but at the end of the day, the numbers are too high, and me and my partner decided that we can't buy it. If you have an earnest money deposit in, and you do it before your inspection period is up, no harm, no foul. The seller has his property. He can have it listed with an agent, or he can find another wholesaler to try and sell it to, and you get your earnest money deposit back, and then you move on to the next deal. Now, one thing I do want to say is, if you cancel the contract after the inspection period, have integrity and let the seller have that earnest money deposit, because that was the terms of the agreement. And if you don't, you find yourself in big trouble. Okay? So remember, what if no one buys the deal? You just learned that wasn't a deal. Okay? The first property I got under contract, I want to tell you a quick story. This is when I first moved to this area and I really didn't know too much, and got a property under contract, and the contract was basically retail, okay? And the property was a mess. It was mold, everything in it, and I put it out there, and somebody gave me a call back. Actually, a good friend of mine that I've done deals with called me back, and he said, dude, what are you doing? This is not a deal. This is basically retail. And I said, oh, really? Sorry. Help me educate myself. What did I miss? He said, well, this, and this. And what did I take from that? I learned. So no one bought the deal. No money out of pocket for me, but I learned, and from that experience, that person that actually walked me through why that wasn't a deal ended up becoming, my mentor pretty much, or somebody that I can call upon and bounce ideas off of and run deals past. So what did I gain from it? I gained a valuable experience of learning what was not a deal and who I can go to make sure I lock up a solid deal. All right. Next, how do I market a property? So how do I get this property out to market? Okay, I think I've done everything right. I got the property under contract. The title is over, the contract is over at escrow. I put up my earnest money deposit. Now I need to find some people that need to buy this deal for me, because I only have a 7-day inspection period. I need to move this thing quick. So one thing that I always like to do is I inform the sellers in advance. Hey, Mr. Seller, I work with a group of investors. If I don't buy the property, if I don't secure the property and the rehab becomes to be too expensive for me, I can definitely get that property moved, with my network. So you can put this property out, to your buyer's list. So you can build that buyer's list. You can do Craigslist. You can do Postlets, which goes to Zillow. You can do bandit signs. You can do other online forums like Bigger Pockets. You can get the information out there. That's not the problem. The thing about it is making sure you have that conversation with the seller in advance and letting them know that you are going to close on this deal within the allotted time frame. And if not, no harm, no foul. You secure the earnest money deposit and we move on. So you can definitely bring that property to market. And again, if it is a deal, it will sell and it will move. I have had properties where I was a little skeptical, getting towards the end of the inspection period, and everybody was saying no, or they were coming below what I had it under contract for, and I was getting a little hot under the collar. But in the 9th hour, had somebody to come back and say, hey, you know what, I'll take it at such and such number. As long as you make a little money and the seller is happy, that's the whole premise. So first you want to make sure you honor the contract with the seller. You want to help that seller out, get out of that situation. And then if you make some money in the meantime in doing that, it's a win-win for everyone. Okay? So next, is it the money? Is it the money like I talked about? What's holding you back? Is it the money? I don't have money for a marketing budget. So what do? I do not have money. So then that's when you can go into driving for dollars. DFD, driving for dollars, which is basically, on your way to work, you take a different path and you find properties that look in some sort of distress. In the summer, grass is not cut. In the winter, if you live in a cold state, if snow hasn't been shoveled, if the roof looks bad, garbage outside, and then you can go to the assessor's tax records and find the address of the owner, or use some sort of skip tracing service and find that owner, and send them a letter or pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I noticed your property at 123 Main Street. Either the tenants are not taking care of the property, but it looks pretty bad, and it looked like the city may be presenting you with the fine. What's going on with the property? And start that conversation and engage that seller in that conversation. So that's one, driving for dollars. Another one is I did a recent video on putting in MLS listed offers. So especially if you're getting started, you want to make sure you have a relationship with an agent and another wholesaler or cash buyer where you can put in MLS listed offers on properties. No money out of your pocket. You just have to spend the time in order to do it. So if you want more information about this property, about this information, just go to the video on, putting in MLS listed properties, offers on MLS listed properties. So no marketing budget. Next, I don't have an earnest money deposit, So what? I've got properties under contract with zero earnest money deposit. I wouldn't suggest that you do this all the time, but you can definitely secure property with no money. Secure it with $10. You got $10? Secure it with $10. Okay? So don't let no earnest money deposit hinder you. A lot of sellers are not even aware of the need for earnest money. So you can definitely go into a transaction, come up to an agreement and say, hey, you know what, I'll pay you $50,000 for the property, and we'll put the contract in escrow, and you'll receive your money at closing. Don't even bring up the earnest money deposit. And you can still close that deal. No proof of funds letter. I kind of talked about this again in this, putting in MLS listed offers. I don't have a proof of funds letter. You can get a proof of funds letter from almost any wholesaler, credible wholesaler, or any investor. Only thing you have to do is inform them, hey, I am going to be putting in offers on MLS listed properties, and I want to put those offers in for you. So please help me help you by putting in these offers. Only thing I need is an MLS. Only thing I need is a proof of funds letter. They'll give you that proof of funds letter. They can email it over to you, scan it over to you, give it to you in hand. That way, when you put these offers in on the MLS, you send over that proof of funds letter validating that you are liquid enough to close this transaction with cash. So if it's money, don't let that hold you back. Get out there and get to work. Okay? This is the biggest. Confidence. Confidence. All of your fears are connected to your confidence. If you are not confident, you're going to be fearful. If you're not confident, you believe you lack the education. If you're not confident, having no money is going to stop you. If you're not confident, you're not going to find a way to get that earnest money deposit. So you have to be confident. One of the things that stop people in their confidence, again, is age. Hey, I'm too young. I have a baby face. They know I don't have $300,000 cash to buy this property. They don't know that. But if you walk with confidence, then you can go up to them and say, hey, you know what? I'll buy this property for $320,000. We can close in 10 days. No inspection period. We'll buy it as is. Does it sound like a deal? They're not going to say, well, let me see your bank account. And if they say, well, how do I know that you have the money? You go back to this proof of funds. I have proof of funds to show you. I am liquid enough and have the collateral in order to close this deal. Okay? Not sure of the process. That goes back to the implementation of education. So it's not just the lack of education, but the implementation of the education. All the information is out there about the process. I can go through the process real quick, and 6 major steps. It's not sure of the process. You're not sure of yourself and implementing the process. So don't let this stop you. And believe me, if you're unsure of the process, just ask questions below. Just ask questions. That's what you need to be able to do. You need to be able to ask questions in order to get the answers that you need. And then finally, I have no mentor. I have no help. And there's an easy answer for this. I hear this all the time. The major thing that new wholesalers and new investors say is, I have no money, I don't know what to do, and I have no help. So these 3 things can be solved by one word. Relationship. You have to get out and you have to build those relationships. So if you don't have a mentor, you know, you can go out there and bird dog and you can tell people and Google yes or Google I buy houses San Antonio. That whole list again is going to be nothing but wholesalers and investors. Pick up the phone, call those people, build those relationships. Say, look, I'm looking to get started. I know the process, or I believe I know the process. Only thing I need is if I secure a deal, can I bring it to you to bounce that deal off of you? If it's a deal, you have first choice. It's yours. So you're basically going out being a property scout, scouting properties for them. So again, let's get over some of these self-limiting beliefs, you know, the fear, what's holding you back, fear of the unknown. No, you can find that information. Is it money? No, the money is out there. Believe me. I went to a workshop on this past Saturday. Somebody said, you know what if I find a property, you know, where am I going to get the money from? Believe me, in this economy right now, the money is out there. Everybody have money that's trying to reinvest this money because they're not getting those returns in the bank. The stock market is fluctuating so much. Real estate right now is a safe haven. So again, the money is out there. And then finally, the confidence. You have to get over those self-limiting beliefs and build that confidence and really get out there. You got to talk to sellers. You got to talk to real estate agents. You have to talk to brokers. You have to talk to tradesmen. You know, you have to get out there. So I hope this video was useful for you. Believe me, shouldn't nothing hold you back. The only thing that holds you back is you. If you have any questions, please ask below. If you find this content valuable, you know, subscribe. There's other content at equityrealestateblog.com. I go over this and much more, you know, at that site. Marcus Maloney, the Equity King, signing off.